Now that Zani has been released, we have our second character that can exploit Spectro Frazzle, but in a different way than Phoebe in Absolution State does. Most people are saying that Phoebe is Zani's best teammate by far. I even saw someone compare it to how Zhao Q from HSR is to Acheron is how Phoebe is to Zani, which I thought was pretty funny. But in this video, I want to actually see how badly Zani needs Phoebe, and how good or bad her alternative team setups are. So if you want to know how badly Zani is supposedly needing to have Phoebe in her team, let's get started. First, let's look at everything that Phoebe will do for Zani, and where in Zani's kit it actually matters. What Phoebe will do is provide applying a Spectro Frazzle, and with her outro, reducing the Spectro res of nearby targets by 10% and granting 100% Spectro Frazzle damage amplification, which a lot of Zani's damage is considered. And when Spectro Frazzle inflicts damage, extend Spectro Frazzle damage in a roll by 50%, all lasting for 30 seconds. And Phoebe's alternative is Spectro Rover, and Spectro Rover applies Spectro Frazzle and reduces the target's Spectro res by 10% on hit from Resonant skill for 20 seconds with S6. And that's about all she does for Zani. Phoebe provides a lot more, but let's see where in Zani's kit that is actually relevant. Her Resonant skill, Forte Circuit, and Resonance Liberation are where Spectro Frazzle is relevant to Zani. Her Resonant skill has two parts to it. First, you will activate it, and then when your Forte bar is full after a normal attack combo, it will have a new glowing Resonant skill button. When you hit this, it will consume the Forte bar and cast targeted action, which is considered Spectro Frazzle damage. So only the second enhanced part of her Resonant skill is considered Spectro Frazzle damage. Zani's Resonance Liberation has a mode called Inferno Mode, which is the cool enhanced mode that you've seen and changes her look. Not much to this description, but more is mentioned in the Forte circuit, so onto that. This is where applying Spectro Frazzle comes in, and where Zani actually does something a bit different than Phoebe with Spectro Frazzle. With Heliacal Ember, when Zani is in the team and a nearby Resonator inflicts Spectro Frazzle upon a target, immediately consume all Spectro Frazzle stacks and trigger the corresponding damage. Then convert Spectro Frazzle into an equal number of Heliacal Embers. Every time conversion happens, Zani obtains Blaze based on the stacks of Heliacal Ember inflicted. What this means is that whenever Zani is on your team and you apply Spectro Frazzle, it will immediately turn into Heliacal Ember. The main part that matters is that it generates Blaze for Zani, which is a damage multiplier for her. Or in plain English, apply Spectro Frazzle, blah blah blah, get damage multiplier. Scorching Light in the Forte circuit is where most of her damage is coming from, and is what describes what Zani will do during her Resonance Liberation's Inferno mode. So all of the moves that she will perform during Liberation are considered both heavy attack damage and Spectro Frazzle damage. It's just a bunch of yap of what is specifically going on that effectively amounts to clicking the left mouse button, it does this, click it again, and it does this, click it again, and it does this. So since we know that we want to apply as much Spectro Frazzle as possible to increase Zani's damage multiplier, let's look at how we can do that with both Phoebe and Spectro Rover. Firstly, Spectro Rover applies 2 stacks with Resonant skill and 6 stacks with Resonance Liberation. With 2 skills in a rotation, that's 10 stacks of Spectro Frazzle total. Phoebe, however, applies 8 stacks with Liberation and 5 for each part of her Forte bar for a total of 10 from the Forte bar, for a total of 18 stacks of Spectro Frazzle in a normal Phoebe rotation. Now obviously you can only have 10 stacks of Spectro Frazzle applied at once, but since Zani consumes it and turns it into Heliacal Embers, the enemy will actually have 18 stacks of Heliacal Embers, and since every stack of Heliacal Ember converted from Spectro Frazzle grants 5 blazes, now I'm no mathematician here, but 5 times 18 I'm pretty sure is 90, and for the second part of Zani's skill, granting 10 blaze, that puts you at the maximum 100 blaze that Zani can have when not in Inferno mode, and you do get 50 more blaze when you do enter Inferno mode, when the cap increases to 150. So with Spectro Rover, you will cap out at 50 blaze and 100 blaze when in Inferno mode, so that's an entire 50 less blaze. And since there is an additional multiplier per blaze, you will lose damage by not running Phoebe, who conveniently provides the perfect amount and gets Zani to 100 blaze when not in Inferno mode. So by using Phoebe, you will effectively max out Zani's damage potential, which is great. But don't worry, I actually tested Zani with Spectro Rover to see how much of a damage fall off it actually is, so let's check out the team's testing section. The Hazard Tower buffs for Zani effectively almost mimic Phoebe with a 100% Spectro Frazzle damage amp and free Spectro Frazzle application. There is also a 20% heavy attack damage bonus that she does use, but is probably the least impactful of the buffs, but it's still something to know. This is why I also tested her against the Inferno Rider in the Echoing Tower. Because of this, Phoebe teams didn't really change much, but in the non-Phoebe teams, you can clearly see a difference in clear times. Phoebe doesn't really do all that much damage in the confession state in this context, but what she is really doing is giga buffing Zani with her buffs. The best you are going to be able to do to make up for these buffs is using Shorekeeper and Spectro Rover. Without the Spectro Frazzle damage amp, you can see the clear times differ in the different towers. So overall, I think this shows that Zani is still usable without Phoebe, but without her, Zani will definitely suffer. I don't think this is all that surprising since most teams have best in slot characters, but in this case with Zani, I think it's a bit more noticeable than normal. If I had to compare it to something, it's kind of like using Jinshi without a coordinated attacker, or at least using her with Verena, who doesn't really provide coordinated attacks often enough like Deji, Yinlin, and Yuano would. She still functions, but not to where her peak is. It's just that Phoebe is more niche and has less general buffs, like say Resonant Skill damage amp or a specific elemental damage amp, and that kind of makes it harder to justify getting her unless you really want to make the most out of Zani. Shorekeeper and Spectro Rover do seem to be the really solid alternative though, a lot better than I was expecting actually. These were the teams that I thought would be the best given what Zani is looking for, but let me know if you want me to test something else in the comments and I'll try it if I can. So overall, Zani does feel kind of restricted, needing Phoebe as a teammate who effectively doesn't really work with anyone else besides Spectro Rover, so it kind of sucks from the point of view of trying to get characters that will work for more than one character even if it isn't optimal, like pulling Cantarella for Camellia. It's not her best team, but you can make it work since she does give buffs. Phoebe at the moment only buffs Zani and doesn't really do anything for anyone else. Renacida does seem like they want to go in the direction of debuffing, so who's really to say that she will feel this restrictive in the future. Zani just won't be as top of the meta without Phoebe and will still be able to perform, just not at her peak, but you will need Spectro Rover for her. Otherwise, I mean, good luck. If I missed something or you are still unsure about something when it comes to Zani and her synergies with Phoebe and Spectro Rover, let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. I hope this was able to help you out to better understand Zani and Spectro Frazzle and to see what her alternative teams might look like so you can consider if you want to get Phoebe or not. And if this helped out, help me out by leaving a like and even consider subscribing. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.